Hi everyone, I'm here with one of my best friends, Aija Mayrock. Hi Asia.
Hi, I'm so happy to get to talk to you.
Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from California.
And how are you feeling today?
I am feeling good today. I went for a walk. I did all the kind of things that part of my routine that I try to keep my life around. And just to get to see your face is making me a lot happier. So,
I feel like when we Zoom or FaceTime, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing a friend, because
yeah,
that's as close as we get to the social side of things, which is so
definitely.
crazy.
I don't know about you, but for me, it's definitely, I see a difference in myself when I don't see people and don't talk to people. And I'm not the best with staying in touch either. So it can be really hard and can definitely affect how I'm feeling. But whenever I get to like even FaceTime with a friend like you,
Yeah.
it really changes my day.
Yeah. Would you consider yourself like an introvert or an extrovert?
I think I'm definitely an introvert, but I need that balance for
Yeah.
sure. What about you?
So it's kind of different for me because I feel like everyone thinks I'm an extrovert because I'm like I can be very social,
Yeah.
but I'm 100% an introvert because like
Mm,
quarantine is hard for me, but I think that because I do have social anxiety and like fear, especially around like judgment and stuff,
yeah,
which is something I'm
yeah.
working through. I feel like for me, it's actually been super, super healing to just have this space because I feel like I haven't had this space like for my whole life.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely find benefits to it.
Yeah.
But have you felt, so I know something I get nervous about, and I know we've talked about this in the past, is
Yeah.
like uh I also have social anxiety like you, and sometimes over like text or over FaceTime, it makes it worse.
Yeah.
How do you navigate that with work, with friends, with everything?
So I like read into everything, right? And
Same, me
especially,
too.
and I know I've texted you about this, like I'll be text even if it's a friend or it's a work person and like they don't use emojis. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so mad at me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
something is really wrong. And I don't
yeah.
know. I feel like it's kind of been striking that balance of like having these authentic conversations and then
Yeah.
also at the same time like being able to like build a long lasting friendship or
Yeah.
relationship when you realize that you actually haven't like felt that person's energy like face to face. But I'm
Yeah.
curious to know kind of, okay, obviously I feel like everyone who's watching, y'all will know by now that Aija is an incredible poet and you just had a book come out.
Thank
What
you.
is it about like this time and also maybe things you've experienced in your mental health journey that have really inspired you and your writing this year?
Mm. Well, earlier this year, right before coronavirus and the country kind of went into lockdown, I was really struggling with my mental health. And like, I know you and I talked about this. And so I think for me, it has really been making sure that I'm taking care of myself and my mental health, so that I lead a balanced, happy life and like the best life that I can lead. And so there's, in terms of like what inspires me with writing, for example, I find that I'm able to really get in touch with how I truly am feeling through my writing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's harder for me to talk it out with someone, but when I write it out, I like see how I'm really feeling on paper, and
Yeah.
that's been really helpful. And so during this period, even if I am not super inspired to write something, I try to write my morning pages every morning of the 3 pages,
Yeah.
because even when I did it this morning, I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize I felt this way. So that's been like a key part of my routine and how I've been trying to keep my life structured.
That's
What about you?
amazing. I mean, I love that you do this morning pages thing and seeing it on Instagram and just the fact that you hold yourself to do that is incredible because I feel like for me, holding myself towards any sort of routine has been really hard,
Yeah.
because the days get repetitive and everything. So, I mean, this year for me has been like a big roller coaster, right? And I feel like there were moments this year where I felt like so alone, right? And like the depths of depression that I hadn't seen in many years. And I am so thankful for you as a friend, being there through that time too. But I'm curious about kind of, have you felt like your depression or like your mental health has you know, has been very much affected by what's happening in the world, and sort of what 2020 is.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think like everyone, it's definitely been made worse by everything, but at the same time, like I feel very lucky to be in the situation I'm in, to have my family, to have health and stuff like that. So I've just been trying to maintain it, and I think that's been the biggest thing. Like you said, it's been hard to keep a routine and to like get up every day and keep motivated, whether it's for yourself, for your work, for whatever. And so for me, that's been like the biggest thing to try to maintain every day. And I know like sometimes I'll text you and be like, I can't get this done, or I can't get out of this kind of feeling I'm in. And also I'm so grateful for you because you have been there through so many moments. And I think for anyone watching that has had different struggles, no matter what it might be, it's so important to reach out to the people in your life that you love and that are there for you. And it can be really hard and like really scary, but it's so important. What have been the things that you have obviously struggled with, but also found have helped you through your struggles?
I would say that for me, I was always really scared of being alone, right? Like, I mean, you know, pre-COVID, I was like on a plane every day, and I distract myself from flashbacks by like working and distracting myself. I like just learned I have ADHD, you know, all these things.
Yeah.
And I feel like even when I was in high school, I would, you know, bluntly say, oh, I hate silence. Like when there's silence and when I'm alone, that's when I have a panic attack, right? And so quarantine was all of a sudden like forced you to be alone and with silence around you. And I feel like for me, what's been really helpful is absolutely reaching out. But also I think like finding ways to like, it sounds so cheesy, but like have conversations with myself. It's kind of what you were saying about poetry, but I got really into like crochet and graphic design and painting and writing. And I feel like those creative outlets have almost been a way to remind myself that I'm like not alone, even when it's just me, you know?
Yeah, you have been so creative during this period, and it honestly inspires me. And I think there's something about creating something, birthing something, whether it's like a painting or something that you crocheted, whatever it might be, that I think connects you to like your essence and your spirit. And I think
Yeah.
that can definitely be really helpful.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I feel like when you talk about your essence and your spirit, right? So I think this is an interesting conversation because it's like, okay, when we talk about not being alone, right? I think most people are like, oh, like not being alone with friends, not being alone when you're with family. But this concept of learning to not feel alone when you're with yourself, right? Is
Yes.
right? Like I think that especially for young women, which is so much about of what Dear Girl is about, right? Is like finding that sort of inner sense of self. Can you tell us a little bit more about like how you think about that and like what conversations look like with you and Aija in you, I guess?
Yeah. Well, I completely agree with you because I think, you know, when the world is normal, there's a lot of things that you can distract yourself from, your inner thoughts and everything, with like how busy everything is and rushing to do this and to do that. And then when that stops and you are alone with your thoughts, it can be so hard for so many people. And definitely like I have felt that too. And I think for me, part of this period has been working on my relationship with myself, and being better to myself, because I obviously read a book about bullying and my experience with bullying, but I can also bully myself. And um, in a way, I think that's like the worst kind of, maybe not the worst kind of bullying, but it's bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's yeah, totally in terms of like worst kind, but I would say it is kind of the worst kind in the sense of like it's something that you cannot escape, right?
Yes, exactly.
I feel like even in the most like my, you know, in my own experience with like bullies or like relationships that were close to me that were
Yeah.
toxic, at the end of the day, what stuck with me and still stays with me is the remnants of that dialogue that I continue to tell myself, right? And so, no, I mean, that's super powerful. And I'm curious about like, I think that people will look at you and be like, Aija has figured it all out, right? Like self-love is like, Aija is the self-love queen. So I'm curious about kind of like, how would you respond to that?
I mean, it's definitely not true, and you know that. I think that it's very easy to look at anyone and think they have it figured out and that they love themselves fully and things are great. Before I met you, when I saw you online, I was like, this girl's perfect. Like she loves herself. She's so confident. She's everything. And I remember like first few times that we met, like I would like text you, like, I'm so inspired by you, like everything, like, but you know, the truth is we all have our wounded parts. We all struggle with things, and things can get much worse and they can get a little better, and it's a journey. And for me, it's a lifelong journey, as it is for all of us. And so I would say, you know, it's definitely, I don't love myself every single day, and I work on it as much as I can, but I'm facing the same types of self-acceptance stuff that a lot of us struggle with.
I would love to just kind of end with some words of wisdom from you around like, for people who are watching or listening to this, right? Like if they're experiencing that solitude and kind of the depths of darkness of this year, like what would you want to tell them, both to reach out and not feel alone, but also not feel alone within themselves?
Okay, yeah. I would say I also really want to hear your answer, because I feel like you have amazing wisdom. And I know I always go to you for wisdom, but I would say in terms of my own experience, I think that it's very easy to think that you can handle something alone and that you don't need anyone else to be there for you. But the long-term effects of that are not good. And I went through it. I went through the 8 years that I struggled with bullying and my mental health without telling anyone and just kind of suffering in silence. And I still am working through what that did to my self-esteem and to who I am as a person. And so I know it's really hard to ask for help, but please create like a list of 5 people in your life that you trust and go to them and ask for help. And if they don't help you, keep having conversations with them, because sometimes it doesn't happen on the first or second or even third try, but there are people in your life that are going to show up for you and be there for you. Like Nadya is someone that I met, you know, maybe a year ago now, or I think a year ago, and has been there for me in some of my really difficult moments. And so like there are people you will come across, and please continue advocating for yourself, because at the end of the day, you have to have your own back.
No, I would say the exact same thing. And I feel like I think it's also so powerful to hear from incredible leaders like you too, just admitting that you don't have it all figured out, right? And even the people who are surrounded with love, whether that be on social or otherwise, like we're all still figuring it out. And this is such a journey. And I mean, I think that it's also so powerful that there are organizations like NAMI that are able to kind of be that support system when people do feel alone. So
Absolutely. I
yeah,
think it's something like NAMI. If I had known about NAMI when I was going through it in like middle school and high school, that would have been a game changer for me. And I'm sure for you, like you feel the same way.
yeah, totally. And I think, I mean, I think it's kind of the beauty of like anonymity and like being able to just kind of
Yeah.
share your feelings with someone. But yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. This was so much fun.
I know we must do this again soon.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And remember that you're hashtag not alone.